So we are reading Zero Limits by Joe Vitale and Dr. Hugh Lin. We are on page 55 of the book, chapter number 12.
155.
Yeah, 155 of the book, chapter number 12, and 155 of the PDF.
As I mentioned earlier, I taught a seminar one day called The Secret of Money. I told everyone that they will have money if they are clear. If they are broke, they aren't clear. I told Dr. Hugh Lin about it and he agreed. Memories can keep money away, he said. If you are clear about money, you'll have it. The universe gives it if you will accept it. It is memories playing that keep it from you or you from seeing it.
So, one second. So this is important, right? Now, today, if you are living in lack, then that is what is going to manifest in your life. Okay. So we have to be open to receiving. If we are not open to receiving, we can never receive anything. So the point is that we need to always look internally. We need to look at ourselves as to where are we operating from, and then take it forward from there. So if we are operating in lack, the universe cannot give it to us because we are creating that energy field which says that I don't have this. So how can the universe give it to you?
How do you get clear? Keep saying, I love you. Do you say it to money? You can love money, but it's better just to say it to the divine. When you are at zero, you have zero limits, and even money can come to you. But when you are in memory, you will prevent it. There are many memories around money. As you clean them, they get cleaned for everyone.
So, okay. So now if you are at zero, then you are actually open to anything manifesting, right? Now, all of us have some kind of a relationship with money. And most of the time, we are operating from the lack of it. Money, how much ever money you have, you always feel you have less, right? So we need to shift our connection, our relationship with money for it to manifest in our lives. And we need to clear all the memories associated with the aspect of memory. The more we clean it, the better it is for us and everyone in relationship to money.
We went into a deli and ordered coffee. The place was quiet as we sat there, but slowly people streamed in and the place got busier and louder. The energy in the place grew. You notice that? He asked. There's a buzz to the place, I said. People seem happier. We came in and we brought our cleaner selves, and the place is feeling it, he said. He told me about going into restaurants in Europe. Their business would be slow, but after he visited, business increased. He tried this in a few different places to see if the same thing happened. It did. He then went to a restaurant owner and said, if we come in and your business improves, will you give us a free meal? The owner agreed. Dr. Hugh Lin would often get free meals from just being.
So when we are clear, right, when we are clean and we walk into an environment, we automatically start clearing that environment. And this has been seen, through the ages. This was the reason why we called the saints and sages into our house. And the words were that unka charan, unka pag fera agar hoga in our house, then our house will get cleared. Our house will get cleaned. Okay. So this was something which was known by our ancients, and it is built into our culture. Having said that, people don't realize it anymore and think it more as an issue and a problem rather than a solution to all the issues that they have. So again, it's also a matter of the company that you keep, right? What sorts of people are coming into your awareness, into your house, into your office will automatically shift the energy field of your office and your space. Yes, Raghuji.
Yeah. I just want to tell you there was a great Swamiji in Tiruvannamalai called
Yes.
Seshadri Swamigal. He found actually Ramana Maharishi. He brought it, he took him out of the temple when he was completely getting bitten by all sorts of insects and all. Anyway, when he goes to some shop, when he takes one banana, and people were begging him to come and take one banana free. Next minute, everything was over. I mean,
Yeah.
it was not more than 2 hours, the shop was empty. So people used to invite him every day. It was in such a big demand to go to places. Wherever he went in and took something away, and next 1 2 hours, everything was gone. So that is,
Beautiful.
you can understand this now very well,
Yeah.
what is happening. He was so clean.
Absolutely.
He was,
Absolutely.
he was like a madman running around, but he was amazing energy, amazing brilliance.
Yeah. So most people who are in that oneness state, from our state of consciousness, they will always seem mad. Okay. So that's part of the game. That's just what it is.
I noticed that he gave money freely. We went into a little shop. He bought a few stained glass items for friends. He then slapped a $20 bill on the counter and said, "And this is for you." The clerk looked surprised, and naturally so. He added, "It's only money."
So again, what is the relationship with money? Are you operating from lack? Or are you operating from abundance? Right. Now, the moment we start operating out of abundance, we start giving, the more will flow into our lives. The more we give of something, the more it actually flows into our lives.
Later, at a restaurant, I gave a large tip to the waitress. She stared, open mouth. "I couldn't accept this," she said. "Yes, you can," I countered. Still later, I got an idea for a product that I knew would make me a large amount of money. Dr. Hewlin pointed out, the universe rewarded you for your generosity. You gave, so it gave back. It gave you that inspiration. Had you not given, it would not have given.
So again, the same concept, right? The more you do something, the more it manifests in your life. So it's a circular field. And you may give to Mr. X, but you will get from Mr. Y. So don't expect to get something from the same person that you have given it to. You'll get it from somewhere else, and it always comes back.
Ah, and there was the real secret to money. We Americans forget that it says right on our money, "In God we trust," said Dr. Hewlin. We print it, but we don't believe it.
So now again, this is a difference between thinking and feeling, and both thinking and feeling being on the same page. So most of the time we are just doing the route, right? It's like when we are doing a puja, we are just following the ritual, but we are not really connecting with the ritual and putting feeling into it. It's not going to give you the result that you really want. So over here, it's being printed on all the money, but how many people really trust divinity? How many people really trust God to manifest in their lives whatever is necessary for them? Not many people do, in my view.
One point, Dr. Hewlin asked me about the nutritional company I had founded with a physician and a nutritionist. We created it to market a cholesterol lowering natural formula we call Cardio Secret. Dr. Hewlin had consulted with me a while back about the product name as well as the name of the company. He was curious to see where we went with it. "It's on hold right now," I said. "I hired a Food and Drug Administration FDA attorney to review our website and our packaging, and we are waiting on him. But as a result of working on this product, I got an idea for an even more exciting product, something I call Fitterita. I went on to explain that Fitter-Rita is a natural margarita mix. I received the idea for it while out drinking with friends. I was in yet another bodybuilding fitness contest at the time, so having a margarita was a rare and special thing for me. While drinking one, I said, "What we need is a bodybuilder's margarita." As soon as I said it, I knew it was a good idea.
So the point here is that we need to pay attention to inspiration, right? So when we get inspired, something just pops up into our consciousness out of the blue. The more attention we pay, the more it can pay us. Okay, so it's very important to be aware of what we are thinking. It again simply boils down to that, or whatever is coming into our consciousness.
Good for you, Joseph, Dr. Hewlin said. You weren't attached to the first product and wanting things to go your way. So the divine gave you a new money making idea. Too many people lock onto an idea and try to force it to fit their expectations. And what they're doing is blocking the very wealth they want to receive. Good for you, Joseph. Good for you.
So again, he's putting into place a wonderful idea, and this actually tallies with the 4 S's very well, right? So we have the 4 S's which says Swata, Sahaj, Shresht, and Swikar. So over here he says that you weren't attached to the first product and wanting the things to go your way, right? So he released the first idea, he was not stuck to it. So he dropped attachment, right? And then something came into his conscious awareness, Swata, right? Now, since he already had the systems in place, it was easy for him to do. And it was a brilliant idea. So it was Shresht, and he accepted it. So the moment all the 4 S's fell into place over here, now he is not blocking what needs to come into his life. Most of the time, we are not even aware of what is happening with us. And we are our biggest roadblocks. We create the biggest hindrance for our own growth. So our ego is what actually creates a problem. Now we start calling this guy the small guy and this guy the big guy. So the small guy is what creates the problem because he does not know everything, but he thinks he knows everything, which is the big problem that we have.
He's right, of course. As long as I stay open to ideas from the divine, they keep coming. Besides the Fitter-Rita product, I also received an idea for clearing mats. These are mats you place your food on to clean it and you before you dine. But I didn't stop there. Dr. Hewlin received an idea too. I've never seen a website that cleans people while they sit and look at it, he told me. Let's make our website for our book just that. When people go there, they are being cleaned by what we infuse in the site. We did just that too. See it at www.zerolimits.info. There's no end to the amount of ideas and money you can receive once you let go of your need and allow it all to come to you. The key, as always, is just to keep cleaning, cleaning, cleaning.
So whenever you need something, right, you are in lack. So you are operating from the left side of the grid and nothing manifests from the left side of the grid. So we need to drop our attachment. We need to let go. We need to clean ourselves to allow what needs to manifest in our being. Now, this is an interesting concept that he's brought up here, that even our website, when we are looking at it, it will clean things. Now, there are two concepts to this. One is David Hawkins, the levels of consciousness. So David Hawkins was using muscle testing and other processes where he actually claims that each line in the book, Power versus Force, he tested for what level of consciousness that line was written at and operating at. There's another concept in biogeometry, which is called centering. So finding the center, everything around us has a center. And the moment we connect to the center, we connect to something, what they call in biogeometry, the BG3 energies, which is the sacred energy from which everything manifests, right? So what he's talking about here is that we can actually make a visiting card, that the moment you give your visiting card to someone, it will start cleaning that person because it has a high energy field. You take a book, the book can have a high energy field. The moment you hold a book, it will start cleaning you. You go to a website in this case, and the website will start cleaning you. So each page of the website can actually be tested as to what level of consciousness it is operating at. This book gives an idea to me because we've not really tested each page of our website also. So this is something that we can always do, right? So what are you watching? What are you seeing? What is coming into your conscious awareness? This becomes very, very important here, right? Because whatever you connect with, it's going to influence you, whether you like it or you don't. Okay, so it is going to affect you.
Niket, hello.
Yes.
एक तो there's too much disturbance.
कृपा जी प्लीज म्यूट करिए अपने आप को. Yes, Kavita.
Please tell us or tell me, I haven't understood how they can raise the level of, I mean, how can you cleanse just by holding the book, reading the book? I know that, you know, when somebody's energy level is high or when their aura is such, they can come in a natural, you know, मतलब वो जैसे आप कह रहे हैं ना कि जब these संत लोग घर आते हैं, I can understand all that. But a book, मतलब वस्तु, how can one raise the energy level of a book?
You can actually test the level of consciousness the book is operating at. Okay.
So it has to be a book which is like this, Power of Now.
No. It may be. It doesn't have to be this book, right? It depends on how the book is written, what is the level of consciousness the book is carrying. So we can actually test each and every book. We can use the Lecker antenna. We can use the BG3 pendulum. We can use muscle testing to actually figure out what is the level of consciousness at which it is operating. Okay, so let's do an example over here. So when we so look at this chart. Okay, this we've seen many times before. The level of consciousness of a thing, right? Can everyone see it? Has it gone off or can everyone see it?
I
can see it, right? So now let's say if I do muscle testing, right? My antenna and all is not here right now. But let us say what is the level of consciousness that Zero Limits, the book that is right in front of me, operating at, right? Is it operating above 100? Yes. This is tight. Okay. Is it above 200? Yes. Above 300? Yes. Above 400? Yes. Okay. 500, it's not going. It's opening, right? So 410, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 91, 92, 93. It opens at 93. So this book is operating at 493 in this scale of consciousness. Now let us say someone is operating at below that. The moment the person will hold the book, what is it going to do to him? Kavita madam.
I'm trying to figure out.
As soon as you hold the book, which is operating at a higher level of consciousness, what happens? Okay, you release a perfume in one room. Okay, you chidko a perfume in one room. And there's another room beside that, and there's a connection, there's a doorway. Okay. After some time, what will happen? The smell will come into the second room.
True, so true, yes.
So now I am operating, let's say, suppose I was operating at 200.
Right.
Right. Now I get a hold of this book and I start reading it and I keep it in my hand.
Right.
Now, don't you think it's going to start influencing me?
Right. Because
so now
that
the
book
company,
is
so now the company that you keep, let us say you go into the presence of a person or a saint who's operating at 700.
Right.
right? Now you are operating at, let's say, 400.
Right.
Now, as soon as you go into the presence of the person operating at 700,
Mhm.
your consciousness level is going to start rising.
I get all that, Niket.
Yeah.
My question is, how can I raise the consciousness level of that thing, of the book or of the
So now we can
my
test the book.
furniture or
Yeah,
of the things
so we
in my,
can-
you know?
Yeah, exactly. So
Uh-huh.
we can test, right? So I can
Okay.
take the BJ3 pendulum, or I can take the Lecker antenna, or I can do the muscle testing. So I read this line, okay? She told me her story and I listened.
Huh.
This is a line over here.
Okay.
Okay. So now I test what is the level of consciousness that line is existing at. So if I test, is it above 100? Yes. 200, 300, 400 में नहीं है. 310, 20, 30. Right? 31 में खुल रहा है. So that particular line is operating at 330.
Hmm.
Right? So now I can test each and every line in the book to figure out what level of consciousness each line is operating at.
I see.
You understand? Now
And that
I
will be
can
the same-
also change
That will
the
be the
words.
same for everybody. That is same for everybody.
It should be technically,
Uh-huh.
right? Maybe
Uh-huh.
few 10 points here and there because of
Okay.
your sensitivity, right?
Okay.
Now I
Okay.
can change the words a little bit and test whether it raises the level of consciousness of that line.
Acha.
So I can substitute words.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
I see.
So when I substitute a word, it will change the meaning of the line, or it will change the energy field of the line.
I see.
You get
What an
that?
interesting concept this is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when we are applying it into manifestation also, for something to manifest, you
Yeah.
can figure out what level of consciousness is required for that thing to manifest.
How?
You can test. Let
So
us say we test.
I can make my intent. I can put my intent.
Yeah, you can say that, okay, I want to write another book. Okay, so now what is the level of consciousness that your idea to write another book is operating at? Right? And when you are engaging in the process of writing the book, what is the level of consciousness that you are engaging it at?
Okay.
Now, if the level of consciousness for the book to manifest is higher than the consciousness at which you are operating, the book will not manifest. Are you getting that picture?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's the game that we need to play. Okay. Yes, Manjula Bhabi. I'm stopping the share here. Manjula Bhabi, you have to show your face now.
Before
Meenu ji,
Manjula Bhabi comes on,
yeah.
let me tell you now, if I want to send you a reball, Niket, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Shall I test the energy level of my reball before sending it to you? Can I do that also?
Of course you can do that. What is the level of consciousness with which you are sending the reball will of course depend on the efficacy of the reball.
So
what is the level of consciousness with which you are sending it? That's why we say, right? Now, one of the things which is built into the reball, which is very beautiful, is that you're going into the state of F10, which is like a zero state, right? You're going to a state of no mind. And from there, you're just setting an intent in that state. You're not sending it to your own conscious level. So that's why the reball automatically raises the level of consciousness of anything that you put it on.
Okay, all right.
Because you are connecting with divinity and then you're sending it. Now, divinity level is, you can't measure it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So therefore, when we send it with the reballs, we don't have to. Reball has its own.
But then what is the attitude with which you're sending it? Are you sending it from the small guy or the big guy?
So if I were to send a
if
reball, how would I what is the question I would ask myself? I don't know how to ask this question.
No. So when you are sending it, are you sending it with ego? Are you sending it actually just sending it?
Just sending it. You never send an ego.
So if you don't get ego in it, then you're connecting with divinity and asking divinity to do the work, right? You're not doing the work.
At best, you could send a reball with emotion, never with ego.
Yeah, but even emotion, if it is connected with your smaller self, because you are desiring a particular end, then that becomes a problem also. Because you are needing that.
Right.
So you have to accept whatever manifests, right? You
No,
have
but
to
that's
drop.
the idea of a reball. The idea of a
So
reball
what is the
that-
level? So which side of the grid are you sending
if
the
I
reball
said
from?
Hurricane should not hit West Bengal, there is a need. There is a need that it should not hit. Obviously it's need based. It
So
doesn't.
you are saying not. Okay, so not doesn't, they don't get not.
No, even I know they don't get not. Okay, let's not go there. You understand what my
So,
question
so the
is?
point, yeah, I understand. So you
Huh.
send a reball that may the city of Calcutta be protected,
Correct. But
but
why?
may the
Why?
best
Because I am
manifest.
living in Calcutta. So there's an ulterior.
Correct. That's all
Correct.
right. But may the best manifest.
Asha, so whatever you say, then you say may the best manifest.
Right. Win-win situation. May the best man manifest. Right. So now what is it that you are accepting that agar hoga to acha hai, doesn't matter, right? But this is what I intend. I'm asking divinity to please do this. That's it. And then you allow divinity to do what it wants to do.
Achha, theek hai, chalo. Theek hai. I won't take any more time. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Manjula Bhavi. You have to unmute. Okay, unmute.
I won't take much of your time. I think we should read the book. We'll share later on. Bhaiya, please continue the book
Okay,
reading.
Annalisa. Please unmute. Annalisa, you can unmute. Okay, unmute.
It doesn't allow unless.
Yeah, okay, now you're
you-
unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have two questions. One, so if it says that we can test every line in the book and every line has a different energy, will it be that every print of the book also has a different energy?
Technically speaking, yes. But since
Because
each of
if
the books are
supposing
in
one is-
resonance,
Yeah.
each of the books are in resonance with each other. If you
Mhm.
clear and raise the energy level of one book, it will raise the energy level of the other books. This was mentioned in this book also, where the
Okay.
attractor factor of one of his books was not doing very well, right? And when they cleared on it, after that, the book started doing well. So they raised the energy level of the book by clearing it, and then the sales started happening.
Okay. So if I buy one copy from one shop and somebody else buys it maybe online, so it'll have the same energy now you're saying.
It
that-
should, technically
Okay.
speaking. But then there is something called psychometry also, right? Your energy will
Yes.
also affect your book.
Correct. And who's
So
the
if-
seller?
Yeah, as well as the seller, with what consciousness the seller has sent it, with what
Okay.
consciousness the printer has printed it. So all those factors will start coming into the play,
Okay.
right? But the
Okay.
essence of the book will be there. That is definitely there, right?
Okay.
So over here, when we look at power versus force, I don't know when we'll read it, but it says that the level of consciousness of each religion, he talks about that also.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
Kavita Didi. Yeah, Annalisa, go ahead.
Yeah, my second question is that since we are talking about this energy, that is held by things, I wanted to understand one of my friends who recently her jaw, shifted and dislocated and her smile was crooked. So when she went to the doctor told her that it is because of some kind of stress that she has had many years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, because of which the cartilage inside both sides of the jaw has torn. So it had to be stitched on both sides.
Yeah.
So with her, it was this case. And she recently got married, after which this happened.
Hmm.
But just day before yesterday, when talking to her and looking at the wedding pictures, everyone who lives on that same floor, all the daughter-in-laws had some or the other problem because of which the one side of the face went crooked.
Okay.
So it was some kind of medical issue, something like that. And then the smile started to go a little crooked. So all of them had some or the other issue. And then after that, they had to have surgery, or some of them have to constantly
So,
have
see,
Botox and
Annalisa,
all
this
that.
is more a Vastu, an energy field
Okay.
related question, right?
Okay.
So join
So,
the
but that is also it's like this
absolutely,
same kind of
absolutely.
energy thing.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in an
Yeah.
environment, it can create that same kind of issue. And when you
Uh-huh.
see that, then there may be an underground water stream, a Hartman grid or a Curry grid crossing or a plate. It can be so many factors in that.
Okay.
which
Yeah.
can influence
Yeah.
the whole building.
But it is some kind of energy force.
Absolutely, it can be. Of
Okay.
course, the energy will affect you.
Okay.
Yes, Kavita Didi.
Thank you.
So Niket, coming back to the energy of the book, so now I kind of understand कि जब बच्चे छोटे थे, उन लोग के तकिया के नीचे I would at least put Hanuman Chalisa always.
Correct. Absolutely. That's the
So
reason
now
why we
that
do it.
now it's making sense to me.
That's it, right? Now, also
Yeah.
what happens is that the book is radiating a field. And if you're operating from the right side of your brain very effectively, then you see, when we are reading it logically, we have to read from the left side, we have to read each line, right?
Yeah.
When you operate from your left side and you're totally connected, you'll just put your hand on the book and you'll know what the book is about.
Yeah.
So the reason why we used to put the books under the children's bed is because of that only.
Yeah.
That what is the influence that we are bringing into the child's mind when the child is sleeping.
Thank you.
Yes, Mukul Bhabi.
So this is connected to what Annalisa also asked. Now we are all reading the PDF here. We are not holding a book. So what about the energy is there then? So that means we should actually have a book or
No, see, now again, the PDF will have its own energy and the words will have their own energy.
yeah.
आज आप ओम लिखेंगे, suppose you write Om, right? So the Om has its own inherent energy.
Yeah.
But what is the person's energy who's writing will also influence the Om.
Yes, of course.
So it will have a net result energy. So now the PDF will have a slightly different energy than the book. Definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Aisha.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that you did this to check.
Yeah.
What do people like me do?
That's
I
the
don't know
ring
how
test.
to check.
That's
I
the
know.
ring test.
You're nicely doing the 300, 400, 500. Will you teach us at some point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
We-
Thank you.
We are going to have the Vastu program, the Vastu and Energy Field module 2. I think it's happening on the 25th. So anyone who's joined that program can join that session. Okay, whoever has joined the Vastu program online can join that session. We will take it up in that session.
Okay, I haven't,
You
but
can join.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, Rajeshwari.
Something.
Ra-
I'd like to share something now.
yeah, go ahead, please.
As you were talking about the energy of the book and everything,
Yeah,
I just connected to the energy field.
yeah,
I just jammed my finger in this holder, this mobile phone holder.
yeah,
I hurt it. I just connected to what was happening.
yeah.
Or not, it has just vanished.
Absolutely. So you've raised your energy level by connecting with the energy field of the book, which is
And
operating at 400 and something, right? So
Yes.
the hurt is operating at 200. It will raise the field and rectify it.
Yes, and I've always done that.
Yeah,
For a long time before itself. I'll keep my hand on a book. And even my mother, I'll say, keep your hand on the book, you'll be all right.
yeah,
And it worked brilliantly.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
now I know. But one thing, the energy in that book, once it takes away our energy, it reduces. How do I raise the energy of that book? Or it will come back on its own?
No, the energy of the book, why will it diminish? It's operating, it's a state of being of that book. So when you connect with a sage or a seer, right, you think you can reduce the energy level of the seer?
No, that I can't.
So
But
the
then
book
when
is
it
the
comes to
same,
a
right?
book, but the book,
It will come back. If it is self-regulating, it will come back. There
It
are
will come
certain things which impregnate, right? If they impregnate, then you have to do different kinds of clearing.
okay,
Okay, but if they don't impregnate, then it will come back to its own energy field.
okay.
It will come back to score. It will come back to source.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You all should join the Vastu and Energy Field program. We really talk about all this in that program. Yes, Renuji.
Bhaiya, but we've already done the second Vastu. In that
You
we
can
didn't
join
get-
again. Baba, free de raha hai yaar. Rupiya thodi na mang raha hai.
No, it's not that, Bhaiya. It's the time, morning to evening.
1 second. 1 second. I am giving you the opportunity. I didn't say you have to join. Don't join.
No, I want to learn this.
Chalo, let's move. Okay.
Okay.
We'll keep stuck here if we keep going like this. Manjula Bhabi, some really burning question, or we can move ahead?
It's burning. That's why I have to tell. Just a second. You were talking about the book. This incident happened with me. I was just, I'm fond of reading books. So I was just going to a store.
Yeah.
There was one book. मैं वहाँ खड़ी हुई, I'm not watching that book. Nobody
Hmm.
was there with me. I was alone. अचानक से the book fell down.
Yeah.
I was a little scared. क्या हुआ? फिर मैं I just picked up. I said अच्छा. फिर I just kept it. I didn't read the कौन सा किताब and all. Then I moved a little, just 1 or 2 steps. Again it fell down. Then I said, अरे हो सकता है मैंने ठीक से नहीं रखा.
अरे
Then
सुनिए, cut the story short. You should
Third
buy that
time,
book.
I bought that book.
Bas.
That's what I'm telling you, and it
Yeah.
changed my life. It was
Correct.
Chakra of Healing by Doreen Virtue.
Yeah.
And when somebody met me after 10 days, he said, "Are you doing something?" I said, "नहीं, कुछ नहीं कर रही हूँ." बोला नहीं, आपका energy बहुत clear लग रहा है. I said, so then I thought, oh yes, I'm doing Doreen Virtue का that CD. I'm listening to it and cleaning my all the
Correct.
system.
Correct.
So I wanted to share the book is really powerful.
Yeah.
Books.
Absolutely. That's how I buy most of my books. Chalo. Shimangla, you're on.
What should therapists do when they see clients? I asked, wanting to probe for specific methods in helping people to heal. Just love them, Dr. Hewlin replied. But what if someone comes to you because they are traumatized at some point and they aren't over it? I asked, wanting to back Dr. Hewlin into a corner and force him to squeeze out some method I could use. All everyone wants is to be loved, he said. Isn't that what you want? It doesn't matter what you say or do as long as you love the person. So I could be a Jungian or a Freudian or a Richian or anything else. It doesn't matter, he stressed. What matters is that you love the person because they are a part of you and your loving them will help erase and clean and clear the program activated in their life.
So the point is, this is why, in olden times, you used to have a family doctor. And if the doctor came into your home to see you, most of your issues automatically got taken care of. Why? Because the doctor had a connect with you. The doctor actually cared for you. It was not a cut and dry mechanical process, right? So what happens here is that whenever you're coming in contact with anyone, what is the state of consciousness that you're operating at? When you're connecting with that person, really transmutes. And this is something that we've seen from the HeartMath process, where they've actually studied the energy field which is being radiated, and especially from the heart. Okay, they measured it a kilometer away. Now, when we walk into a space or we come in contact with anyone, even in Zoom, it transmutes. Okay, so you're in contact with that person. What are you feeling? What is the energy of that person doing to you? And let me tell you, all our bodies are so sensitive that it gets to know a lot of data that we ourselves are not aware of, right? So he says very clearly over here that all that everyone wants is love. And if you can just operate from that level of consciousness, of that love feeling or that caring without any kind of, you're not playing a control drama. Now, when we go into Celestine prophecy, there is no drama involved. You are giving for the sake of giving, and the other person is getting for the sake of getting. You're not wanting anything from the other person. Then automatically the energy exchange, the feel that you have of a workshop, of a book reading, of going to a party, of meeting in a group of friends. What is the agenda? Is there a calculation going on behind your mind, or you are operating from love? That's why they say, love and above. So when you start operating from that consciousness level of 500 and above, if you come in contact with anyone, that person automatically starts to get healed. It's simply like that.
I wasn't settling for that answer, though I could see his point. What if someone is certifiably crazy? I had a woman come to me who was considered schizophrenic, he began. I asked her to tell me her story. You have to understand that whatever she or anyone tells me isn't the real issue. Their story is their conscious interpretation of events. What's really happening is out of their awareness. But hearing the story is the starting place.
Now, this is extremely important, right? Now, we've read in this book that the conscious mind can only assess 40 bits of data, but the subconscious mind, or the big guy, is assessing 40 million bits of data. Now, who is telling the story? The story is being told by the small guy. Now, if the small guy is telling the story, it is naturally not the whole story. So when we are listening to someone, and especially a therapist, the therapist needs to be in an altered state to actually read between the lines as to what is actually happening. So go into a deeper state of consciousness to understand what is the real story. Okay. Now, yes, the starting point, of course, is that what is the conscious mind observed and what is the story that the conscious mind is saying. Okay. Now, if you really consider that when someone is saying a story, you will find that the story keeps changing over a period of time, right? And what you repeat starts becoming real to you. So again, I'm repeating this, that the conscious mind really doesn't know the real story as to what is happening below the line. And this is something that we are finding really hits the nail on the head when we are doing biofield tuning and you come to a block, right? And we get a feel that, okay, what is this block about? And when we start having a conversation with that person about that block, a bulb goes up in the head of that person and the block gets cleared. Now, the person may or may not be consciously aware of the block, but the moment he becomes consciously aware and he accepts it, right, the block clears and the clarity in the field starts to come about. And I'm seeing with biofield tuning, in this process only, there are so many shifts taking place in people. It is actually not funny, because I'm seeing people transform right in front of me and I'm not doing anything, right? I'm just, again, when I really look at when we are doing biofield tuning, I am really assessing what I'm feeling in my body and just clearing that. But because the resonance is there with the other person's field, when we are doing that tuning, because we are keeping that person in front of us, the clearing automatically starts taking place in the other person also. So this is very, very clear over here. The whole story is never told by the conscious mind. This is something that we must be aware of.
What did she say? She told me her story and I listened. I just kept repeating, I love you in my mind, to the divine, trusting whatever needed to be cleaned would be cleaned. At one point, she told me her full name, which was one of those hyphenated names like Vitali Odin or some such. Exactly. I knew that was the part of the problem. When someone has a split name, it creates a split personality. She needed to own her birth name. Did you ask her to legally change her name? She didn't have to go that far, he explained. By telling herself that her name was one word, she began to relax and feel whole again.
So this is again energy fields playing up, right? Every word has an energy field. Now, if I'm splitting that word, naturally there's a split. And if I'm identifying with that, then that is going to influence me. So, being able to actually sense what is the right vibratory field for ourselves becomes important. This was the reason why the names were selected in a very scientific manner previously, right? वो राशि के साथ निकालते थे and all. Of course, nowadays people don't really know how to operate it and work it, right? And also then you have the numerological principle, getting the numerology. But now again, if you're doing numerology mechanically, then again you don't get the feel. What I feel works better is to actually test the field of the name or whatever you're doing with your field, whether it matches you or not. We can do that with the antenna, with muscle testing, with the BG3 pendulum also. And it works really beautifully, right? So again, split personality because she had a hyphen between her name. So she split herself up.
But was it the name change or your saying, I love you, that made the difference for her? Who knows? But I want to know, I said. I started a miracles coaching program at www.miraclescoaching.com. I want to be sure my coaches say and do the right thing so they truly help people.
Okay, so we missed one thing. He says over here, by telling herself that her name was one word, she began to relax and feel whole again. So it may be just as simple as that, you know, changing your perception about something changes how it occurs to you. And the moment it changes how it occurs to you, everything surrounding that changes. You get that? So how is something occurring to you becomes very, very important over here. Now, a simple test would be if you take the grid. Now, something is coming into your conscious awareness. Where is it taking you? Is it taking you into a left side or to the right side of the grid? And that changes the whole perception of what is happening. I'll share an incident which happened. Okay, I'm going a little off track. But in the morning, I was chatting with Kavita Ajmera. Okay. And I told her that tell your kids to join the program. And then I made a statement. I wish that children join the program. And she turned out and saying, you need to clean and you need to be which side of the grid you're operating and all that she started telling me. And I absolutely got it, right? The point was that where was I operating from? When I said I wish more children join the program, I was definitely on the left side of the grid. I totally get that, right? So this becomes important. The point is that if we can bring conscious awareness to where we are operating from, we can change our perception about it and create a shift in the consciousness. So how am I relating to it will result in the manifestation taking place. So over here, when she shifted her perception about her name, everything in her shifted.
He went on to explain that therapists think they are here to help people or save people. But in reality, their job is to heal themselves of the program they see in their patients. As those memories get cancelled in the therapist, they get cancelled in the patient.
So again, now this is very important. Okay, we think we can heal the world. Again, yours truly, I was also thinking in those words. I want to help people. I want to do this. I want to do this, for others. Now, what I've really come to understand is that if we heal ourselves, if we start becoming whole, if we start operating out of equanimity, then automatically everything around us will start to fall into place. And really speaking, the only thing that we can really heal or have control about is ourselves. We don't have control about anything else, right? So very clearly he's saying that the therapist has to only heal himself. What is happening in his field when a client comes to him, that is what he needs to clear. He does not need to clear the client. If he clears himself, the client will automatically get cleared.
It doesn't matter what you or your coaches say or do, as long as they keep loving the person they are with. He explained again. Remember, the person you see is the mirror of you. What they experience is shared by you. Clean the shared program and you'll both get well. But how?
So now, if there was no resonance between you and the client, the client would not come to you, right? So there is some connection, there is some kind of a resonance. Now, the moment you clear the thing or the program in this case that he is mentioning, that is creating that resonance, once you clear it, then automatically the field gets cleared. Okay. Yes, Raghuji? Please unmute.
Yes.
You, yeah. Please unmute.
Yeah. No, you are saying that I have only control over myself. I don't think that is a fact. I think it's a feeling there's nobody else than me. So if you clear myself, everything gets cleared. Instead of saying, that's what I felt, that when you say, I have only, we don't have control over anything, basically.
Correct. Absolutely. When
we
you are
really-
operating, it's, you know, we are not yet in wholeness, Raghuji. When we get into that level of consciousness of operating at total wholeness all the time, then what you are saying is absolutely right. As of now, in this state of mind, the way that I'm looking at things, we are still operating in duality. We are not operating out of that oneness. So that's the reason why I'm saying that if we heal ourselves, then automatically we
No,
heal.
I agree with you, but only
Yeah.
thing is your statement that I have control over myself. That control is
Control is I accept that. Okay.
You get
I
stuck with
I
that.
can only do things with myself. Let's put it that way. Drop
Yeah.
the word control. Chaliye.
But how? I love you, he said. I'm beginning to sense a theme here. I've been trying to figure out how the world works since I was old enough to read children's books and then comic books. Superman and The Flash were pretty easy to understand. Today, I have to deal with science, religion, psychology, and philosophy, as well as my own mental wanderings. Just when I think I have a handle on things, along comes another book to disturb my view of the world. This time, I was reading Consciousness Speaks by Balsekar when I started to get a headache. If I had to sum up its message in words from a man confused by reading the book, I'd say that nothing we do comes from free will. It's all being prompted through us. We think we are the conscious actors. We are wrong. That our ego is talking, in some respect, we are puppets, with the divine as the energy in us pulling our strings.
So this is absolutely true in my view. And as I've said it many times, previously in the energy field and Vastu program, we used to say, I've drawn a line. Does the line have energy? Okay, so some people said yes, no, whatever. So any action that was taken for the line to come into manifestation was in the line. But when we are looking at it from the BG3 principle, there is a field which is generated before the line. And if that field is not there, the line will not come into existence. The other thing is that we can actually understand that where did you start drawing the line and where did the line end? Because the way you start drawing the line, you have ultraviolet frequencies, and where it ends, there are infrared frequencies, and this can be tested. Okay, so very clearly, we think that we are operating out of free will, but where did the thought come for doing something? So before we take an action, there is always a thought, right? Now, where did the thought come from? The thought came from the big guy. Now, are we in connection with the big guy? No. The only thing that we have available to us right now is the small guy. And the small guy is always prompted by the big guy. So really speaking, we think we have free will, but at the end of the day, we really do not have free will because we are prompted to do whatever we are doing.
Now imagine this. I'm the guy who wrote The Attractor Factor, a book that explains a 5-step process for having, doing, or being anything you want. I and others have used the method to attract everything from wealth to cars to spouses to health to jobs to, well, you name it. It's all about declaring your intention and then acting on what comes your way or bubbles up from within to make it manifest. In short, you're the puppeteer and the world is your puppet. So, how do I fit these two apparently conflicting philosophies in my head without going bonkers? I think it works like this. First, we are living in a belief driven world. Whatever you believe, that belief will work. It'll get you through the day at any rate. It will frame your experiences into perceptions that make sense to you. And when something comes your way that doesn't seem to match your worldview, belief system, you'll find a way to rationalize it and force it to fit. Or you'll take failure.
Okay, so what does this mean? That all of us have a belief system and we constantly operate in that belief system. Now, in the Gateway Voyage, one of the first things that Robert Monroe says in his opening talk to the people attending the Gateway Voyage is about this. He says that our belief systems are restrictive. They keep us in a box, right? And our job in this life is to make holes in that box so that we can expand our state of consciousness. Now, as we expand and get out of the small box, we'll go out into a bigger box, right? Then we need to poke holes in that bigger box and get it out into a even bigger box. So what he's saying over here is that whatever you are experiencing, it is coming out of your belief system. Change your belief system and your perceptions will also shift and change.
Second, I can't help but wonder if both philosophies are right. We are the puppet and the puppeteer, but that only works when we get out of our own way. It's our minds that drive us to overdrink, overeat, frolic, steal, lie, and even spend too much time worrying about how the world works. Our mind gets in the way of the natural flow of things. Our mind knows they are doomed and they can't stand the thought of it. So they construct feel-good addictions to help them survive. In reality, whatever that is, your mind is the interference to experiencing the bliss of the moment.
So basically the ego starts to come into, it's like a roadblock or it's like a barrier to your experiencing bliss, your experiencing that oneness, that experiencing that wholeness, right? That experiencing that zero state of consciousness. Because the ego is selfish, right? It wants to do things its way. It wants to be in control. And that's what creates the problems for us. The moment we start stepping out of our own way, we allow the ego to drop and allow things to start happening. That's when the magic will start to happen.
If this is so, then all the techniques to get clear, which I talk about as step 3 in the attractor factor, are there to help you take the interference out of the divine plan. For example, when you use a method like the emotional freedom technique, EFT, the tapping your troubles away approach to life, you dissolve the issues troubling you.
So
Then,
emotional freedom technique is tapping, right? So you tap your body in a certain specific way while saying certain statements. Now, there is a concept called the body hold score. So anything that is happening to you is in your field as well as in your physical body. So when we tap the body in a particular way, it allows the body to release that stuff which is stuck. Okay, so it says here, dissolves the issues troubling you because you're clearing it. So that's another method of clearing.
but then what happens? Then you take a positive action. Well, weren't you going to take that positive action anyway? Isn't that why you knew there was a problem to begin with? In other words, the nudge to take action was sent to you from the divine, and your anxiety over it was the interference. Take away the interference, and you're back to being one with the divine, which means you're puppet and puppeteer again.
So basically the clearing, when the clearing takes place, we get into the flow and we allow whatever needs to happen to start happening.
So let me try to sum up what at least makes sense to me today. You came into this world with a gift within yourself. You may know it right away or not. You may not even know it right now. At some point, you'll sense it within you. Now, your mind is going to judge it. If your mind judges it as bad, you'll seek therapy or methods or drugs or addictions to handle it. Hide it, resolve it, release it, or accept it. But once you have removed that interference preventing you from acting on your gift, you'll act on that gift. In short, you'll be the puppet of the divine, but you'll be the puppeteer of your life.
So once we remove the interference and we allow the flow to start happening, now the instruction is coming from divinity. So you're the puppet. But once you start acting on that instruction, you become the puppeteer, because now you have, okay, I know the Raghuji doesn't like the word, but you have control, or you have a way of acting in the way that you're consciously aware of, right? So you can operate out of conscious awareness. So you become the puppeteer.
Your choice is to go with the flow or not. That's free will. Some call it free won't, because your real decision is to act on the impulse or not.
So again, the idea is to get into the flow, but most of the time we create our own interference by using can't, won't, no, not, should, couldn't, all these words which actually create a hindrance for us to get into the flow.
Even the great showman and marketer, P.T. Barnum, whom I wrote about in my book, There's a Customer Born Every Minute, knew this. He took action, he did things on a grand scale, but he was always obeying some higher order. His gravestone marker reads, "Not my will, but thine be done."
So this is a beautiful thing, right? That the divine or the divinity acts through me. I remember someone telling me a story that Jayadayalji Goenka, my Nana ji, he used to tell people, "Mera jo bhi ichha hai, wo pura hota hai." So someone turned around and asked him, "How is that possible?" It is impossible. So he turned around and told the person that whatever is the will of my Lord is my will. So whatever is happening is the Lord's will, and my will, I align with the Lord's will. So whatever is happening is my will. Okay, so that's exactly what is being said here. Not my will, but thine will be done. That means your will manifest, not mine.
He acted on his ideas without interference from his mind, and he allowed the results to be what they were, trusting that it was all part of the universe's bigger picture. He was able to let go while taking action.
So all action was taken with a witness attitude, right? With a detached attitude. So he was taking the action. He was fully involved with the action, but he was not attached to the action.
And that's step 5 in my book, The Attractor Factor. Tonight, I have the world figured out, I think. Tomorrow, I'm not so sure. I long for comic books again. Should we stop here?
No, please complete.
Everyone has a gift, Dr. Hewlin told me on one of our walks. What about Tiger Woods? I asked. knowing the answer, but wanting to lead to a deeper question. He's playing his role in the divine play. But what about when he starts to teach others how to play golf? He'll never succeed, Dr. Hewlin said. His role is playing golf, not teaching golf. That's someone else's role. We each have our part.
So now this is very important, right? Now, a very good player may not be a very good teacher. A teacher or the trainer of the game can be a very good teacher, but may not be the best player, right? So we all have our roles and we must accept our roles. The more we accept our roles, the better off we are going to be.
Even a janitor? Yes, there are janitors and garbage collectors who love their work, he said. You don't think so because you are imagining playing their roles. But they can't play your role either. I suddenly remembered a line from an old self-improvement course. If God told you what to do, you do it and be happy. Well, what you are doing is what God wants you to do. The point is not to resist your role. I might long to be a songwriter like Michelle Malone, or an actor like James Caan, or a bodybuilder like Frank Zane, or a writer like Jack London. I might even get pretty good at writing songs or acting or working out or writing novels. But my role is inspirator. I write books to awaken people, or to be exact, to awaken me. As I awaken me, I awaken you.
So ultimately, you are doing things for yourself, right? And if you do your assigned task to the best of your ability, you are doing exactly what you were meant to do. The issue with us is that we are always looking at the other guy, that this guy is doing things better than me, this is better than me, this has more than me, this guy is earning more than me, earning less than me, or whatever, right? If we can focus on ourselves and do everything around us to the best of our ability, I think we have won the battle and we are on the way to going wherever we are meant to go. Right. We'll stop here. So anyone, anything?